who is ready to provide the help needed is someone who is trained and experienced. Okay, and they do they that this person offers help in a professional setting. Okay, and we said that when we talk about professional setting, that means that one of the important things that we will have to make sure of is what? Anyone? When you talk about professional setting, number one is what?
Privacy po.
Privacy.
Correct. So we said that you have to talk with with the person in private, meaning to say you have you provide a safe space for that person where he does not have to worry about anybody hearing, no overhearing what he is sharing, uh, witnessing what he is going through. No safe place, privacy, where you will not be disturbed the whole time, where you will be uninterrupted, no, where you can feel comfortable and at ease and just be yourself, yun. And so, and it will not also hurt the session if you structure your office or the space that you identified for counseling into a space with some ambience, no, the color that you choose for the space or for the office is it does not it is soothing, very relaxing, hindi masakit sa mata, parang ganon. And it feels homey, no, it feels it feels like it's a sanctuary. Okay, yun. And then soft music siguro in the background if you like, the soft lighting also, no, will help. The lighting does not attack your senses. It's not too bright nor is it too dim, just sakto lang. Okay, and we all do this because we would like to achieve a number of goals. For one, according to Smith, we can help the individual come up with a better choice, a better plan, or make the necessary adjustments, or you can focus on helping the individual deal with personal difficulties by Han and McLean, or you simply would just like to help the individual do things differently to bring about the changes uh, that he or she would like to see in his or her uh, life. Diba? So I think that's very clear to you. Do you have any questions? Okay. We also mentioned last time that ano ba? We said that uh, it is very much possible for a client to fall for the counselor and vice versa. And when that happens, it is the responsibility of the counselor to terminate immediately the professional relationship that he has with this person, and to report the case to his immediate supervisor and also to undergo counseling himself, no. But if we said last time, if it is the real deal, it's the real thing for the both of them, then they still cannot, even if they terminate the relationship, the professional relationship, you still cannot go and go ahead and develop, no, your romantic relationship right after the termination. But it is based on the ethics, no, set up ethical standards for all counselors worldwide, yan, as postulated or as put together by the American Association of Guidance and Counseling. Something I'll share with you the the file. Uh, you have to do it after 5 years. So malaking sakripisyo talaga. Or if you want to take a risk, then you are putting your career on the line. Okay? And the worst that can come pa also is that you may be a case may be filed against you. This is what we talked about last time, di ba? And how to handle clients who are uh, uh, clearly suicidal, parang ganon. And do you have any questions so far, Muna? Things are clear to you? Oh, sige.
Yes, ma'am.
And so let's move on na kasi matagal na tayo dito. So another what's this? Another definition, this time given to us by Donald Blocker in 1966, says that help counseling is helping an individual become aware of himself and the ways in which he is reacting, no, to behavioral influences of his environment. So again, this time now you're talking about the goal. What is it that you want to achieve? So you would like to help the individual develop or to enhance, no, his self-awareness. Okay, it further helps him to establish some personal meaning for his behavior and develop and clarify a set of goals and values for future behavior. So again, self-awareness talaga, and to take a good look at his life, no, and what he is doing about it, so that he'll be able to achieve whatever it is that he would like to achieve sometime in the future. So it's not about the process, it's more about why we are giving him assistance. Okay? And then Torresen also in 1969 said it is simply a variety of procedures systematically undertaken by a counselor to promote very general, specific changes in the behavior of clients. Again, kung ano lang talaga, we can say that when we do counseling, it's more about bringing, it's more about uh, helping the individual uh, go through changes in his behavior. Parang ganon. So here, variety of procedures. So he's talking about counseling being a process. Again here, counseling is defined as, again, a process by which a troubled client person is helped to feel and behave, again, change na naman yan, in a more personally satisfying manner through interaction with an involved person, the counselor, who provides information and reactions which stimulates the client to develop behaviors which enable him to deal more effectively with himself and his environment. That's from Lewis, 1970. The same thing, the same thought, the same concept, but said differently. So this is again two people, okay, getting together, one asking for help, the other one giving help, so that in the end, the other person asking for help will be able to uh, have a more satisfying interaction, no, with people around him, will have a more meaningful life, okay, uh, in life, no, that his relationship with his environment and will be enhanced, or will be good, parang ganon. Check na check. All right
Check,
lang?
ma'am.
Oo,
Check po.
sige.
Mm.
So,
Check
Check,
po,
and then,
ma'am.
ma'am.
but this is of all the definition that we have in the list. For me, this is beautiful. Diba? This is my favorite. Bringing about the best possible congruence between the counselee and his environment. What do you get from this definition? What's the key word here?
Congruence, ma'am.
And what do you understand by congruence?
Being
Agree
on
with
the
Connection.
same page po, ma'am.
being on the same page. Okay, that's correct. So what else? What else do you? How else do you understand the meaning of congruence?
Like having harmony po.
There is Harmony. And when you say harmony, what also comes into your mind? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So congruence talks about harmony between the counselee and his environment. Congruence means like that the counselee and the and the environment are in sync with each other, di ba? That you are in unity with your uh, environment. That is very important because that you can relate easily to your environment, that you are one with your environment. Because when you have this congruence, when you have this harmony, when you are in unity with what is going on with you, there is nothing, you are not going to opposite direction, you are going towards the same direction. You will be you will be ano, walang problema, you will be in a good place, di ba? Because there's no discrepancy, there is no dissonance. You are at peace with yourself and those with yourself and your environment, meaning you are at peace with yourself and the others around you. Walang you are yun, sabi ni ano, sino ba yun? You are working, you are on the same page. And I think that for me is something na talagang, um, it defines, no, it explains in a very simple way how we have to relate with our environment. Kasi if we are in control, we are in sync, we do not go against what is going on around us, we simply accept what is, and things like that, we can continue becoming the best person that we can ever be. But if you're constantly at odds, with people around you, you're always in conflict with your environment, you're always in discord with your environment. And when you say environment, people, events, etc., magulo. Your life is chaotic. No, it's full of chaos. It's full of dissonance. It's full of discord. It's full of problems, etc., etc. And so when we provide counseling to a client, okay, the aim here is to ensure that the best possible congruence is brought about between the counselee and his environment with the assistance of the counselor. Tama ba? Make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes
Yes,
po.
ma'am.
Oo, no? So ito, yung iba okay naman. I like the definition given by all the others, but for me this is very simple. It covers everything talaga. So I don't know how you feel about about the other definitions that we have. I will be asking you which of the many definitions here that we have do you like the most and why? Okay, and so moving on, the helping according to Haki, no, and Nye in 1973, the counseling is the helping relationship which includes, again, set differently but the same thought, someone seeking help, someone willing to give help, and who is so capable or trained to help in a setting that permits that help to be given and uh, received. And then we have assisting and guiding clients, especially by a trained person on a professional basis to resolve personal, social, or psychological problems and difficulties. And then, according to UK NHS, counseling is a talking therapy. Oh, well, this is something different. It's a form of therapy which involves two people getting into a conversation that involves a trained therapist listening to you and helping you find ways to deal with emotional issues. Okay, so anyone who'd like to say which of the many definition uh, he prefers? Okay, who would like to ano muna? Let me just get your thoughts about this. Which one do you, for you personally, um, shows exactly what counseling is? Manangkil, go ahead. Ano yan? Blocker? Okay. Okay, sige. And that's because, mm-hmm. Okay, so you're more about the importance of developing self-awareness. And self-awareness will can only come about with self-understanding. Okay, yun. Okay, anyone else? Yeah? Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Paul.
For me, ma'am, I really like ano po, the one that Hackney and Nye
Mm-hmm.
presented, ma'am, since it
Mm-hmm.
elaborated ano po, I guess it is like sequence to be followed or like the steps to be followed for you to be able to have like uh, a session or a counseling session po. Like someone is seeking help, someone willing to give help.
Mm-hmm.
There's this who is capable of or trained to help, and then yun na po. Parang they're giving ano po, like
So it's
what
very
is to
clear.
be followed. Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Anyone else? Kempa. Wala na? Do I have to call? Yeah, Princess, go ahead. Yes. Princess, go ahead. Hmm. Prince? Someone else come in? Parang nawala si Princess. Okay, Katis, go ahead.
For me, ma'am, Thorson po, 1969.
Okay. Because?
Because I like rationals that are direct to the point po, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it explains the concept of counseling as a whole po, ma'am. Direct to the point po, ma'am. That's why
Direct
I
to the
like it
point.
po. Yes po, ma'am.
One-liner lang.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Albert, go.
For me, ma'am, I was intrigued with the definition saying na from UKNHS, a talking therapy that involves a
Mm-hmm.
trained therapist listening to you and helping you find ways to deal with emotional issues. I feel like this definition, ma'am, simplifies what counseling is and making it as a normal thing. Kasi as I have observed lately or in the past, ma'am, that counseling is not really that really relevant. However, in these trying times, in these times where we have our emotional issues and struggles in life, it is important to let this out, especially in a trained therapist or someone who can really help us in a way, in a more professional way and in a more effective way, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so ano lang, relevant. Counseling has always been relevant, no? Kaya lang, not many people are para may stigma, no?
Yes, ma'am.
The may ano, like if you go for counseling, that is an indication that something is wrong with you, that you are crazy, that you are weak, that you are abnormal. So parang they hesitate, but again we have made a lot of progress when it comes to seeking help, professional help, that is, and that has been parang it was the willingness to seek assistance, no, was this is the good, the upside of the pandemic. It made the people be more willing to open up, because they know that this is one way, especially during this pandemic, na they will find relief. They cannot continue feeling the way they do for long. So there is now more awareness, no, of how counseling or therapy can help you deal with whatever it is that you are going through, and there is no shame to it. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign that you're incapable of coping with whatever you are facing with. No, it's not a sign that you have bad genes. It's not a sign that you are whatever. No, this is something that is quite normal. This is something that is regular, and this is something that is really relieving and helpful. Parang ganon. So we are making progress na talaga, but it has always been relevant, but very few people are ready to recognize and to accept that this is a way, no, for them to regain their balance. Yun. So, maganda yung punto ni Albert. One more? Is there anyone else would like? Oh, go ahead, Muhammad.
For
And
me,
then
ma'am,
Christian, go.
I lean towards Lewis's definition po, Lewis 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like the line is help to feel a process by which a troubled person is helped to feel and behave in a more personally satisfying manner.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my perspective, if I'm going to be counseled, or maybe if I'm going to counsel someone, this is the goal or the end point that I want to achieve. Um, I want to, by the end of the session or by the end of the counseling, I want to feel personally satisfied
Mm-hmm.
na I'm able to be free from whatever it is bothering me or whatever it is that is holding me back
Mm-hmm.
from what I would want to do in the future.
All right. Yeah, that's great. Beautiful. Now let's listen to Christian. Go. Christian, where are you? No, nawala na. Okay, so that's it. Moving forward, I would now like to take up. Oh, meron pa pala tayo. Oh, sige. This is quite long, no? According to this, what's this? APA, Psych Info Database Record. 2016 APA, counseling is a learning-oriented, technical, is a learning-oriented process carried on in a simple one-to-one social environment in which a counselor, professionally competent in relevant psychological skills and knowledge, seeks to assist the client by methods appropriate to the latter's needs and within the context of the total personnel program, to learn more about himself and to accept himself, to learn how to put such understanding into effect in relation to more clearly perceived, realistically defined goals, to the end that the client may become, grabe, a happier and more productive member of his society. Ah, well, yeah, that's very specific. We It says everything, no? That everything what about what counseling is, pero mahirap to process. So yun, sabi natin na the simpler the definition is, the better. It covers these ones, very specific siya, but it's not really, it's not much different from what the definitions that we already had, no, about counseling. It's still the same banana, but siguro mas klaro ya gayon. Anyways, I will not go into that anymore. Now, let me take up with you this one. According to Patterson, in 1967, having said what counseling is, this is what counseling is not. Number one, counseling is not information giving. Although information may be given in counseling. Okay? So, if you go to a counselor because you would like to get some information, you don't call that as counseling at all. Okay, the counselor may provide you with information. So you say when you make a referral, you see, this is because in counseling meron what there is what we call psychoeducation, no? So you educate the client. So when you do psychoeducation, when you provide information, so the counseling or the client can better appreciate, know what he has to do, will have better understanding of the situation because of the information provided by the counselor. That is not. But that is not all. That is just a part of the whole session where appropriate, needed, necessary information is provided. But that doesn't make the ano. If it's all about information giving, we don't call it as counseling. Okay. Number two. Ito na. This is the misconception talaga of a lot of people. When you do counseling, you'd give advice. You don't give advice when you are doing counseling. It is not advice giving. So when you say advice, exactly what are you doing ba? Why is this not considered counseling? Because automatically when you go seek help, you say, please give me advice, or say, please help me. I cannot think anymore. Anong advice mo para sa akin? That's what we do. When we give advice, what are we doing?
We are giving them solution po, ma'am.
Solutions. Katis?
I believe, ma'am, when we say advice, we are recommending someone certain actions that they would need to be doing.
You're not just recommending.
Yes, ma'am. You're telling the person exactly
All
what to
right,
do,
there
which
you go.
shouldn't be done po.
So counseling is not telling the person what to do, although that's exactly what they expect the counselor to do. No? So you tell me what to do. You're the one who is trained. You're the one who is experienced. You're the one who is the helper. So I am at a loss. So you tell me what to do. That's why I'm here. You know better. I cannot think straight anymore. So tell me what to do. And for accounts for somebody who is especially the what's this, no, the beginning counselor, you would like to do, you would like the person to feel good right away, because that is a measure of how good you are or how successful the counseling session is. When the client starts smiling, okay, then that means, oh, I did something good. He is happy with what I told him to do. Now, that is quite, that we have to be cautious when we tell the person what to do. We do not want to carry the burden of, of, of being later on told or accused that you, because they followed what you what you told them, the situation, instead of improving, it got even worse. And when we tell the person what to do, we are thinking for them. We are deciding for them. Now, we would like to believe that when people come to us, they are still very much capable of deciding for themselves. No? That they are at the moment somehow uh, so emotional affected na their ability to decide is medyo compromised. Pero in the end, when you guide them, when you show them the bigger picture, when they are able to understand better the situation that they are in, and they will be able to decide what would be the best course of action to take. And so when we do counseling, especially when we are dealing with individuals who are just having a bad time, they just needed to ventilate, they just needed to put to talk about what's going on. They just have somebody to listen to them lang, but they are not crazy, they are not ano lang, no, it's something that they have to go through, but they will be able to bounce back, they will be able to regain their balance, their equilibrium, and they will be able to move forward. So tayo parang ano lang, we come in because at the moment medyo ano siya, capable of deciding pag talaga, because confused nga, lost. So we try to show him the way, show him the light, make him see what he cannot see before, make him understand that he cannot understand before, parang ganun. But after that, he has to decide what would be the best thing to do. So we always throw the question, what am I going to do? So you say, what do you think can you do to help yourself? So you don't, ganito yung dapat gawin mo. Because if you have done that in the past, every time somebody comes to you and you tell them what to do, they don't do it, they don't actually do what you tell them to do. You get frustrated, you get angry, ano ka ba? Hingi ka ng advice, tapos hindi mo ginagawa. You still stick to what you want. And then you come back again and try again, and nakakainis ka na, parang ganun. It's because we are not actually really, supposed to tell the person what to do. We hate it when somebody tries to teach us or to show us, anong akala mo sa akin? Hindi marunong? Ano akala mo sa akin? Ikaw lang ang alam? So you resent that. So what makes you think that when somebody is troubled, that he will want to do exactly what you tell him to do? So it's always best to avoid such a situation where the client can come back and point a finger at you, tingnan mo, ginawa ko yung sinabi mo, but it wasn't it wasn't the answer to my problem. It made the situation even worse. So parang, hala, ako na nga ang tumulong, ako pa ang may kasalanan ngayon, and you don't want that burden. You don't want that burden. So we believe, no, depende yan, no. I'm talking from the client-centered therapy of Carl Rogers. Okay, Carl Rogers believed that when we provide assistance to somebody, okay, we operate, no, we do it from this perspective that this individual is capable of deciding on his own. What he needs simply from us is a little guidance, a little support, okay, encouragement, making him, giving him a complete picture of the situation from an outsider, because when you are emotionally involved with the situation, there are so many things that you cannot see. It will have to take somebody from the outside coming in to be able to show you, oi, you missed this, oh, you forgot about this, oh, you failed to appreciate this, blah blah blah. And that's what we are supposed to do, to show the person, okay, from a very subjective point of view, not subjective, but from a very objective perspective, that this is how we appreciate the situation, this is what we are saying. So mas malaki yung ano natin perspective kesa sa counseling, kasi na shrink na, no, what he can see is already very limited na. The world that he is moving around is so tiny na, he feels trapped in it, and he cannot think outside of that space, outside of that situation, outside of um, where he is. So it's not easy not to tell the person what to do. It is something that comes to us very naturally. And so if you want to do into counseling, you will have to catch yourself na lang. Kasi there will always be times when you will find yourself telling the person what to do. When you do that, you backtrack kaagad, and then you say, well, what I'm trying to say is, what do you think this would be the best thing for you? Do you agree with this? Kasi you give it to him pa rin. I don't know, take it or leave it. This is my take. This is how I understand, and maybe I think this is the best way to do things. But I don't know if you agree with me, whether you like it, whether you like to do it or not. It's still up to you. It's not up to me. I will not force you to do something that you do not want to do. Parang ganon. That way, you are not taking responsibility of the client's problem. The client's problem is his problem. That is not yours to solve. Who is to solve the problem? It's the client. Yes, Manangkil, go. Mm-mm. Ah, when you think it is beneficial, you may do so. But when you try to speak from your own personal experience, you are taking away, no, the focus from the client, and that is something you try to avoid. You do a little sharing when it is necessary, when you think it will be helpful, but you don't talk about yourself, because when you do counseling, it's all about the client, not about you. So you avoid talking about you and your experience. But it is your call na. It's the call of the therapist or the counselor to share. If she thinks na, oh, this is something that could help you uh, appreciate your situation. This is what I went through, and this is what happened, and this is what I did. Now, if you think that will help, go. But if it will shift the if it will shift the talk from the client to you, and you dominate the session now with all your sharing, ay hindi pwede yan. I think you experienced that. You're talking, "Uy, Day, ano ba, may problema ako, ganun, ganun." Ay, oo, meron din akong problema. Ganito, ganito din ang nangyari sa akin. So, parang, ano ba ito? It's about me. And then now you, 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 you you turned the table around. Instead of me, you listening to me, I am now listening to you. But it's me who came to you for some relief, to talk so I can put it all out. And now immediately I started talking about ano, you jump in and also shared about your own problems, etc. So ikaw parang, ano ba 'to? I will not talk to her na kasi parang she was not listening to me because she's now talking about herself and her concerns. Uh, and I thought I will be able to talk to her and be able to ventilate. So hindi maganda. Did you experience that? Mm, mm, mm. Kaya nga, so para na ano ka pa, discounted ka pa. Like, your experience is nothing compared to what they went through. Parang ganun. Ano ba yan? Guys, the others, no? Do you relate? Can you relate? Nangyari?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po,
Kasi
ma'am, a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
all often compare our level of sensitivity kasi po, I
mhm,
think.
mm. And so kaya, that's not acceptable. But it can happen. No, pero ngayon nandito na tayo. We are in a helping. We are part of the helping profession, and one way or the other, sooner or later, we will be in that position where we will provide help to others. So ito, take note that counseling is not about advice giving. But there is a but here, huh? When you say counseling is not advice giving, generally that is true. But there are instances, many instances too, where the individual, because our belief, no, where are we coming from when we say counseling is not advice giving? It's because we believe that people, no matter what their problems are, whatever that they are going through, they still can in the end decide what they want to happen, kasi this is their life, this is their problem. So dapat sila, we give them the power. So we don't make them feel like you cannot decide, you are incapable of that. So we would like to reinforce the thought that, oh, you're still in control because you still can decide, you still can determine how you want things to be, how you want things to turn out to be, and what steps to take to make that possible. Now, but then again, when clients come to us and they are really, they present to you as somebody who is completely helpless na, wala na, they're lost, wala nang decision, the capacity, the ability to do this, to make decision is already gone. So that's when you have to come in and be more direct in your help. And that kind of counseling where you decide, you take the dominant role, you decide for the client because the client is really incapable of making any decisions for himself. That is what you call direct counseling, and that's when advice giving is needed. So when you try to avoid giving advice, and you indicate that it is the counselee who is in control of the session, who calls the shots now in the session, that is what you call indirect counseling. We will talk more about this later on, no? So there are different kinds of counseling, okay? And so yun, uh, avoid telling people what to do, because oftentimes what happens is they ignore what you tell them. All they want when they go and seek you out is for you to listen to them, not to say anything at all, not to render any judgment, not to go into the right and the wrong, the good and the bad. They just want you to keep quiet, listen to them, stay with them, and in the end, because you listen to them, you understand what they're going through. That is already enough. That is a big deal to them. They will say, "Oh, thank you so much." And then you point out some things that they missed inside na yan. So they appreciate that. Oh, ang ganda. Yeah, I did not see that. I failed to look at it from this angle. I was just so focused on what's going on with me. I failed to also try to see how my behavior is affecting others. And because of the way I behave, they also behave in the way that way, parang ganon. So you can see the relationship, because after all, we influence each other's behavior. So meaning, sila lang ang may kamali, ako ang wala, mahirap yun, di ba? Whatever it is, counseling is a process where the individual in the end will have to recognize and admit that everything that is going wrong in their lives has nothing to do on the outside, but it has everything to do with what is going on from within. It has something to do with the way you think, the way you feel. These two are talagang partners. Now, how you feel with it, or how you think will influence the way you feel, and how you feel will affect the way you act, and the way you act will again impact on the way you think, and it will again influence the way you feel, and then it will lead to some certain outcomes back. It's like that, diba? It's a cycle. So this these three are connected. So if we change the way we think, then we change the way we feel, we change the way we act. So thoughts are very important. Thoughts are powerful. What you think, you become. So if the client is into a lot of negative thinking, a lot of negative self-talk, then that will really influence greatly the way he feels about himself, the way he feels about others, and then because this is how he feels, then this is what he's gonna do. And when you feel bad, what you do is also bad. It will boomerang, 'di ba? So I always say, think good, feel good, do good. Think bad, you start feeling bad, you end up doing something bad. That's the progression. That's how these three are connected with each other. So you have to take care of your thoughts. You have to take care of how you think, okay? Because that can really affect the way you feel and the way you will subsequently act. Okay? So who are these people who are likely to not be able to make decisions on their own? The children. When you have a client who is a child, no, who is very young, they cannot decide for themselves. So that's why you have to decide for them, and you also have to work closely with the parents. The same thing with the elderly. No, when you have an elderly client, their capacity, their ability to decide on their own is somewhat impaired na, and that's when you may have to take an active role in implementing or executing the treatment plan. Ganon. But for the yavis, ah, the young, uh, attractive, verbal, intelligent, and social client with the Yavis, YAVIS. This is the best client to have. You, the young people, somebody who is articulate, somebody who is attractive, somebody who is social. It's easy for you to relate to them, to interact with them, and so they don't need your advice. They only need you to listen to them. You only need to encourage them, make them see make them see, to develop insights into their problems, and they are good. And you may even have to sit down with the person once lang. There's no need for any follow up, because what he needed was simply somebody to talk to, somebody who is willing to listen to him, and then just understand where he's coming from. And that's all that they need. And after that, they're okay na. Diba? Just to unburden lang yourself, to find relief lang. That's all. You don't need to tell them anything, because they know what to do. Reaction? Reaction, guys? Okay lang? Mm. Mm, sige. Mm. You become affected by their stories. Well, how do you manage? You don't ito na, when we talk about qualities or traits of an effective helper, we have this quality of being detached. We are able to create, no create we don't become emotionally attached to our clients. We There is still a barrier, no. You cannot become personally involved with the client, because you will lose your objectivity. That's why we say that when you go into counseling, you are establishing a professional relationship with the client. You do not get into this relationship and then end up friends, personal friends. That would be a violation of again, of what we are supposed to do. We are not going to become friends with this. You don't socialize with your client. You don't get invited with your client, blah blah blah, because then you will lose your objectivity. So in the same way, you have to be able to separate yourself from whatever the client is going through. But that is something that you have to practice on, diba? Something that you have to train yourself to do. Because if the client is crying, and you start crying with the client, and di paano na lang yun? What kind of help are you going to parang you have to protect yourself, no, as a counselor, not to be unduly affected by what the client is going through. You have to be clear-minded. You have to be logical. You have to be rational. You cannot afford to be carried away by your emotions based on what the client is sharing with you. Because if you do that, you break down, you become emotional. Wala na. How can you help the client when you yourself is so much affected by the ano? So you have to be very rational ba? So you have this capacity to detach yourself. And you don't carry the problem of the client with you when you go home. You don't, you have to be, it's like a tap of the faucet. When you're the client is there, you open it. You let it all out. So you listen, etc. But then after the client is gone, you have to shut it off. That's the only way to survive. That's the only way that you'll be able to provide the assistance expected of you. Because if you don't, you will burn out. You will fall down. Hindi mo kaya yan to absorb everything that is being said to you, being shared to you. Because when you sit down with the client, you become a part of the client's world. Your world will overlap. That's why you become a different person after you interact with a client. We will talk more about this, but you will understand better what I'm saying right now. Because when every time you interact with someone, even if for a brief period of time long or for an extended period of time, the outcome is there will be some subtle or very marked changes in you. You become a different person, although you retain your basic traits, but the way you look at things will now change because of your experience with this client who went through hell. Alalala, meron pala yan, ganyan pala yan. When before you have this thought, now after talking, after listening to her and go walking with her, no, in her journey to find some light, to get out of the darkness that she has been under for so long, you are with her. No, you have already become a part of her psychological world. You have impinged on her subjective reality. And so when you get out, iba ka na. You carry a part of that experience with you, and that can change some things in you. So kung ganon man, you have to be able to detach. I think that's the word that I can think of at the moment. To stay somewhat unaffected to a certain degree, to a certain extent, so that you will not completely absorb everything that the client is sharing with you. Now, if just to for self protection. So when you go home, you don't think about the client na, you don't worry about the client because uh, well, that's always that. Pero what I mean is, you don't carry the burden of the client. It's not your responsibility to find a solution to his or her problem. The solution has to come from her. You are there to guide the person. You are there to point things out to him. You are there to show him the way, to make him feel better about himself, to appreciate himself better. But you are not going to be the one to decide and solve his problem. So you don't go and say, o sige na, ako na bahala dyan. Because that's what help. You want help. Diba? O, so you're going to give help. O, tulungan mo ba ako? O na, sige na, siya na. Tama na, wag ka na umiyak dyan. Ako na bahala dito. I'll go talk to Ma'am Miranda. I'll go talk to the dean. I'll do the follow-up for you. Sige na, relax ka na dyan. Ako na bahala sa'yo. Oh, di ba? Sabi mo, okay, this is help, and I'm happy providing the help. But if you continue to do that, mamaya, people will come asking for your help all the time, and you cannot say no to them. Sabi mo, bakit ako lahat? Eh di ikaw yung nagsabi sa kanila. You show to them that you are one person who will do everything for them no matter how difficult it is. All they need is to come knock at your door and you're ready to go and help them. Now, you're thinking of them but you're not thinking of yourself. Saan ang self-care dyan? you are putting yourself under, you put yourself uh, uh, a lot of pressure. You stress yourself out. You worry for them. You try to make things better for them. You forget about yourself, and before you know it, wala na, natumba ka na, you're sick. Why? Because burnout ka na. You're trying to help. You cannot help people. They have to learn to help themselves. In the same way, the only person who can help you is you. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. That's how we survive in counseling. You just imagine the number of clients you get to talk to, one after the other, each with a different problem, each with a different experience. How do you cope with all of this? Unless you know how to protect yourself so that you will not be unduly affected. You have to put up a barrier. Hanggang dito lang ako. I'm not going to get so attached to anyone, because once I start getting attached, I become personal. And when I become so personal, I lose my capacity to help, because I can no longer be objective. You will have to watch out how you say things, baka masaktan. 'Di ba sabi nila, "Uy, best friend mo yan siya. You talk to her." Sabi mo, ayoko, because you're worried if you are going to uh, be truthful, be straightforward, you just say things as they are, you might lose the friendship. You don't want to take that risk. Kayo na lang kung gusto nyo, because this person is important to me. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to jeopardize the friendship that I have been sharing with her for all these years. And then I cannot be brutally honest with her without hurting her, because she will think that everybody is against her, pati ako na rin. So many, that's why you hesitate. You cannot, because you're emotionally involved. That is emotional attachment. So you are not even to do counseling with somebody close to you. Because okay, your ability again to be objective is not there. Kulang siya. You're not supposed to sit down and talk to a relative, anybody, not your cousin, not your brother, not your sister. If you want to do counseling the way it should be, full of objectivity, etc., etc., you only can become successful now when you do this with a complete stranger, somebody that you are not connected to in any way, because you cannot help but uh, be emotional when you are with somebody who is important to you, somebody close to you, somebody who is a relative, etc. You cannot be the best counselor there, because may mga ibang factors coming in. Mm-mm. And I'm talking not just to Manongkil, but to everyone, no? So, okay ba yun sa inyo? Can you see why we adopt this stance? Now we have to become detached. We have to, although we are part of the world of the client, but as soon as the session is over, we will have to leave that world and go back to where we are. Transition yan, di ba? Now, if you are unable to do that, long after the talk of your client, you are still affected by what she shared with you. You cannot function, you cannot concentrate, you cannot do what you need to do. Wala yung focus because of what was discussed during the session. You cannot be effective. So you have to give yourself time to overcome that feeling. You have to breathe, and you have to fix yourself muna before you face another client. Now imagine na if you have a client, you have a session at 8 to 10, and then after that another client will come in, and after that you have another client, and you see a total of six different individuals with different concerns throughout the day. Three in the morning and three in the afternoon. By the time it's 5 o'clock, you're ready to collapse if you don't know how to manage the data that you are getting from them. Mahirap yan. So you have to take care of yourself. That otherwise you have to learn to manage how to do things so that you will still be able to continue with with what you do best, listening to others. Comments? Ox lang? You there, guys?
Ox lang, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Understood
ma'am.
po, ma'am. Napapaisip
Hmm.
po.
Oh, and it's already time, but let's take a look at this lang and then talk about them. So counseling definitely is also not about influencing the attitudes, the beliefs, and the behaviors of the client by persuading, compelling, or threatening. You don't do that. Okay, you don't want to change the attitude of the client, what he believes, no, his limiting beliefs, change his behavior by resorting to any of this, by threatening him. Kung hindi kang gagawa yan, ewan ko na lang, when you compel, you force him to do it against his will, when you try to persuade, this is the thing to do. Ano ka ba? Ang tigas-tigas ng ulo mo, hindi ka nakikinig. Ito na ba sinasabi ko sa iyo? This is what you're supposed. So you persuade, you force, and then you even resort to threatening. That is not what counseling is. And then another thing is selection and assignment of persons for jobs or activity. That's not counseling. When somebody comes to you and say, "I have a problem," what would you like to share? What this problem is? To me, say, "Mom, I need a job." Oh, okay, it's a job. Okay, I know. So you talk about you start calling the people that you know who can offer a job, and you say, "Thank you so much, ma'am. Ang galing mo." That's not counseling. You helping the person get a job is not counseling at all. No? Or you say, "Oh, sige, ikaw na, dapat ganito. You assign." Okay, you call somebody, "Oy, ito na, i-assign mo na daw to, dyan, 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 dyan." That's not counseling. You are helping the person, yes. But that is not what you call counseling. You are helping the person find a job, and that's it. And counseling definitely is not interviewing alone. Yeah, when you interview there is a question and answer thing. Na, di ba? You ask a question, he answers, and you ask another question, and he answers. You do interview in counseling, but it's not everything. Like especially during the initial first stage pa lang. So before you start, you say, may I get some basic information about you? Uh, is that okay? Yes po, ma'am. Okay. May I know what your name is? Okay. How old are you? Yun. And when's your birthday? Where do you stay at the moment? Ganon. And then, what's your, are you studying? What grade are you in? And where do you study? Ganon. What about si Papa? Anong pangalan ni Papa? Anong trabaho ni Papa? How old is Papa? What about si Mama? How old is Mama? What does she do? Or is housewife, housewife siya, ma'am. And how many siblings do you have? Tatlo lang kami. Ah, okay. So anong pangalan ni panganay? What's the name of the eldest? Ako po yun, ma'am. Ah, okay. So who's the second? Who's the third? So this anyone staying at home? Is this your first time to see a counselor, or are you seeing a psychiatrist na ba? Ganun. You get there is even a form for that the client will have to fill up so that you know who this person is and ano bang problema mo. I will share also to you Yung intake form. So when you do the interview, this is for intake interview. And the intake interview can take as much as 1 day, 2 days, or even 3 days. So you just talk about, you just get as much information as you can about the client and about what's happening to him before you actually sit down and start your therapy or your counseling session. You have to know the situation, but you have not done any counseling pa. So in that case, that is interviewing, 'di ba? But after the interview, after the you have already more or less the basic ano na, then you go and start. Okay, so would you like to talk about your concern now? Anong problema? And then the floor is his. And then you just listen. And then maybe kung kailangan, sandali lang, let me see if I got that right, sinabi mo, ganun, ganun. So you start talking, you start engaging the client. And you continue with that until okay, so yun. That's how it is. So, but it's not just pure asking questions and then getting answers to your question. Counseling, according to Patterson, is more than that. Yes? Claro?
Klaro po, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Questions? None? All right. So if you have no questions, then I would like to think that you understand and things are clear to you. And so I say that's all for today. I'll see you again online pa rin on Friday. Okay? And siguro by Friday, you are ready for your first checkup quiz. So please prepare for it. It's going to be a very short quiz lang. Sa Google lang yan. Siguro it will take about 15 to 20 minutes lang or even less. Kasi tik-tik lang naman. You just have to, kasi multiple choice yan, di ba? So, after the, then we will continue on with our discussion. Is that clear? So, what would be the
Yes,
Yes
ma'am.
po, ma'am.
what would be the coverage? Everything that we talk from day one until today. Yun lang. So, focus on the definition, focus on what counseling is not. Hanggang dito lang tayo. Yes, go ahead, Katis.
Will you be sharing your slide, I mean, document po, ma'am, about counseling that you are showing now? In
I said yes, I will.
okay, ma'am.
I
Thank
will
you.
post it lang. Oo,
Okay.
pero if you are a smart student then na even if maybe you can kasi screenshot, you can screenshot so meron ka na. Whether I give it right away or later, then at least meron ka ng kopya. But yeah, the answer is yes, I will be sharing. I said so last time. Okay na?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay, sige. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on Friday. Again, for the last time, please prepare for a short quiz and stay safe and be blessed. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
Bye,
Thank you,
ma'am. Thank
thank
you
you
Thank
po,
you,
po.
ma'am.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Sige.